Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Hess. I'm going to talk to you about taking notes in your math class. I'm going to talk about using three-column notes. In all of my videos, I will use the three-column note approach. I'm going to help you understand why you would want to take notes this way, the benefit, and how to organize yourself. So I want you to ask yourself, how do you currently take notes from your math classes, your lectures, the videos, your books? How effective is it for you right now? And is there anything you can think about that makes it a little clunky or that you could improve upon? So I want to present this idea of three-column notes. The key things that you need for your notes is the key idea, a formula or a definition, because we're doing math, and an example. The examples are really helpful when you're solving a math problem because you know the concept, what's going on, but then you can see how do you actually go through and solve this. So to use your notes, you're going to number each page of notes. You're going to create an index page so that when you're looking back at your notes when you're studying for exams or finals, you can see specific topics. If you're working on a homework or a practice test and you think, oh, I forgot this, I know I have it in my notes, you can go to the index and quickly look through it. And perhaps you have multiple index pages. Maybe you have a page about the first unit and the second unit, or first chapter, second chapter. Lastly, you can come back to these notes, and because there's three columns, you can cover up columns and quiz yourself. So you can cover up the formula and definition and example column and look at the key ideas and say, what do I know about this key idea? Do I remember the formula? Do I remember the definition? And then you can look at the example and hide pieces of it and say, can I do this without seeing the answer? So to get started, grab some loose leaf paper, some scratch paper, some printer paper, graph paper, a spiral notebook, whatever you want to use, or your electronic devices, a computer, whatever works best for you. You're going to want to be consistent, so pick one now and stick with it through the whole semester. I recommend turning it horizontally to give yourself more space, and it might look something like this. So the lined paper might be a little hard because you're writing across the lines, but they're pretty light. But printer paper would reduce that, graph paper would reduce that as well. And so this is what your notes might look like. You'd have the overall topic. So perhaps the unit or the chapter or the big idea that you're going to be talking about in multiple classes, class periods, multiple days, maybe the topic that the chapter is called. And then in the middle, tell us what the subject is. Tell yourself the date, the class, just to keep yourself organized. And on the far right, put in the page number. So each time you take notes, give yourself a new page number. And then give these headings. Give yourself the key idea heading, a definition or formula heading, and an example heading. And then start taking your notes. So if you're watching a video on the quadratic equation, you'd put the quadratic equation. And here you would define it or give the formula in the middle under the definition formula column. And then in the example column, you would show how to use the quadratic formula step by step and show as many steps as you can so that when you look back at it later, it's clear what you did. Don't skip steps. So give yourself enough space. This might take a lot of paper, but by being organized, it'll help you stay on top of things. So do it again for the second idea, the third idea, however many ideas you have. And then at the very end, when you're done taking notes, when you're done with the video or the class period or the section in the textbook, write a brief summary. And this is to help you reflect on what you just wrote about. It's a way for you to check to see if you have any more questions. So go through and say, these notes were about the quadratic formula and this and that, and say, do I understand what this is? Because if you don't, then you need to go back to those notes and fill it in. You might need to ask your teacher for additional resources. You might need to look at other resources. Lastly, when you're working on homework, you can come back to your notes and say, you know what, I don't think I understood this idea correctly, and add to your notes. This might be helpful to use different colors. You might need to just rewrite the notes if you realize you misunderstood something. So when you're done taking your notes for your session, have an index page, and you're going to keep this same page for the whole semester. You might have to have more than one page. And take the page number from each set of notes, You'll have page 1, page 2, 3, put in the topic. You might even list the key terms. Enough information so that when you're studying for a midterm or the final, you can say, oh, on the practice resources, I completely forgot about blah. And you can come look at this. Or maybe you're doing some homework problems and you think, oh, I remember writing notes about this earlier. You come to the topic page and quickly figure out where it is. So keep yourself organized. If you have loose leaf paper or binder paper, make sure it's hole punched and put in a binder. You want to be really organized so that you don't lose track of all this that you're keeping track of. So in summary, we've talked about 3-column notes. We've talked about how to use them, how to create them, and how to study from them. And I have seen so much success from organized note taking that I really want to encourage you to do the same. So good luck, and let me know what I can do to help.